just admit it. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars.
So what I want to talk about now is a little bit about some of the trends in the airline industry. But first I want to start off with just a description of the industry. While most people may just see airlines as a faster way to get to their various destinations, this is a multifaceted industry. The airline industry can be separated into 4 categories, and that's what the United States Department of Transportation does. Those 4 categories are international, national, regional, and cargo. The airline industry exists in an intensely competitive market. In recent years, there's been an industry-wide restructuring which will have far-reaching effects. So let's just look at a couple of the trends. Airline industry is currently enjoying a 15-year high in operating margins, a healthy margin for most of the industry altogether, due to the cost reductions, which is led by the decline of some of the energy prices, industry consolidation, and capacity discipline. This is noteworthy, particularly for airlines which in the past years have been struggling to make profit. Even more impressive, margins remain strong despite recent revenue challenges. During the second quarter of 2015, for example, the margins for network and value carriers increased 6.8 points and 6.2 points, respectively, compared to the same period last year. The margin increases came at a time declining revenue and yields, and reflecting a combination of a favorable cost environment and skilled airline management. In last year's airline economic analysis, the discussion of capacity, industry capacity growth compared with economic expansion, which is the gross domestic product growth, was and remains the priority for most industry observers. Not surprisingly, the recent yield declines appear to coincide with creeping capacity growth for the United States carriers, system-wide, but particularly in the domestic market. Recent capacity growth in the domestic markets, once significantly slower than economic growth forecasts, is now closer to the growth estimates for gross domestic product. Ancillary revenue continues to be an important revenue stream for airlines. It's led by miscellaneous revenue, including priority boarding and in-flight entertainment. Bag fees now charged by the vast majority of carriers are close to second. Despite revenue challenges, the airline has even grown profit margins, aided by unit cost declines outpacing unit revenue declines. The cost declines are driven not only by lower fuel costs, so fuel prices, but also by non-fuel unit cost decreases. Finally, and a significantly continuing trend from last year, is an increase in ASMs, which is driven by greater seat density in airplanes. Airlines have become better at matching capacity to consumer demand during the past decade, maintaining high load factors in both peak and off-peak times. Record load factors in the past 2 years are largely the result of airlines stimulating off-peak demand and maintaining or reducing unnecessary off-peak capacity. For network carriers' domestic operations, the seasonal high load factors have remained virtually unchanged since 2009, while off-peak loads have increased by nearly 6 points. Historically, the industry has seen a high correlation between industry demand and nominal GDP growth. In recent years has seen strong industry focus on constraining capacity at or below the growth of GDP. However, the last 12 months, capacity growth and available seat miles has exceeded GDP growth on a system-wide and U.S. domestic basis. The International Monetary Fund estimates North American GDP growth for 2015 at 2.9%. In 2015, United States domestic capacity has increased 6.2% for the value carriers and 2.1% for network carriers, with overall ASMs, which is available seat miles, that growth for the domestic market at 3.3%. I just want to give a brief industry overview, and specifically not just industry, but a company overview for 3 airlines: United, JetBlue, and Southwest Airlines. United Airlines was founded in 1926. It was once owned by aircraft manufacturer Boeing. United is a major U.S.-based airline operating under its parent company, United Continental Holdings. United Airlines is based in Chicago, Illinois, with a fleet size of nearly 700 mainline aircraft, with a wide flight network covering 69 countries in every inhabited continent. In 1997, United founded the Star Alliance, and today co-chair flights with 28 partners. United Airlines operates 10 hubs in the continental United States, Japan, Guam, Cleveland, Hopkins International Airport, and so on. United established its frequent flyer program, Mileage Plus, in 1981, but after the 2012 United Airlines and Continental Airlines merger, it slightly altered the program name to Mileage Plus. Now, a little bit about JetBlue. JetBlue does not have a formal mission statement or a visual statement. Instead, they rely on a defined set of core values to operate by: safety, caring attitude, integrity, fun, passion. And this is what their strategy is. Originally established itself as a low-fare, low-cost passenger airline that provides high-quality customer service, today they view themselves as a value airline. JetBlue has tried to combine the best aspects of the low-cost carrier Southwest and traditional airlines such as United. They want a perfect mixture. JetBlue strives to offer the value to their customers. They do this by offering comfortable assigned seating and in-flight entertainment. Now here's a little about Southwest Airlines. The mission of Southwest Airlines is dedication to the highest quality of customer service delivered with a sense of warmth, friendliness, individual pride, and company spirit. Southwest has hubs, ports in Baltimore, specifically Baltimore Washington International Airport, also known as Thurgood Marshall, Chicago, Midway, Dallas, etc. And this is how Southwest views their employees. Southwest is committed to providing their employees a stable work environment with equal opportunity for learning and personal growth. Creativity and innovation are encouraged for improving the effectiveness of Southwest Airlines. Above all, employees will be provided the same concern, respect, caring attitude within the organization that they are expected to share externally and with every Southwest customer.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a useful technique for understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and for identifying both opportunities open to you and your threats you face. Okay? We're also going to talk about business SWOT analysis. What makes a SWOT particularly powerful is that with a little thought, it can help you uncover opportunities that you are well placed to exploit. And by understanding the weaknesses of your business, you can manage and eliminate threats that would otherwise catch you unawares. All right, let's talk about some of United's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, United's strengths. The merger of United Airlines and Continental Airlines make a dominant player of the U.S. airline industry. Okay, also, the brand name and brand image of the company are good. Loyal customers who trust the brand. The airline has state-of-art aircrafts and provides absolute services. Okay, and one new thing that also had happened is once we had the issue with United, they upped to 10,000 compensation for denial boarding. So that's one thing that it has changed for the better. Let's go over a few weaknesses of United. The company's financial growth in the last few years has not been satisfactory, which is a cause of concern considered that the facts that the state of the world economic is not improving. The company needs to invest in developing an in-house aircraft maintenance facility and therefore plan to build up financial strength. And one other thing that they actually do is they do a lot of overbooking. Okay, United opportunity. Expanding airline industries, air travel, preferred mode travel by people, and considered to be safe, quick, and cheap. And one other thing is global penetration in Europe and Australia. A few threats that they have in United is increased competition of price due to lesser fares of competitors such as Delta Airways and AMR corporations and rising fuel costs. Let's talk a little bit about Southwest strengths. Okay, it has the maximum departure among the U.S. airlines. High capacity uses, few unfilled seats, short haul segments of airline, industries dominated by companies. Its low cost of efficiency, operating translates to low fares and great value. It feels fun to fly with Southwest. Very good safety record. Okay, let's go over some of their weaknesses. Okay, there's limited morning flights offered, no international flights, operating only Boeing 737 aircrafts. Most employees are union members, and limited amount of cargo and freight carried. Some of their opportunities is increasing Hispanic population and elder generation, potentially marketing. Good growth prediction in overall air travel, new technology opportunities for few service and products. Better use of the internet for marketing, ticketing, etc. And new plane technologies such as Dreamliners will increase the air travel. Some of Southwest threats. Increased fuel prices could reduce the air travel, declining leisure travel because of terrorism and or depressed economy. Short and medium length air travel could be impacted by high-speed rail. Increased competition will likely hurt industry profitable. Okay, we're going to talk just a little bit about JetBlue strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We're going to go with JetBlue Airway is the low-cost airline of America. Provided entertainment for customers, strong brand, widely known among people of the U.S. Okay, we can talk about a little bit about the weaknesses. JetBlue has not yet explored selling snacks during flights. We know we have to have a little snack here and there or a beverage while we're actually flying. And the aircraft issued in 2005 reduced the profit. Airlines operating in 12 countries. Okay. Also, we're going to talk about the opportunities of JetBlue. Growth in airline industry not satisfactory. However, profits of JetBlue on the high side. Increase the number of flights, and majority of international markets are untapped. And last but not least, we'll talk about JetBlue's threats. Airline industry sees increased security threats after 9/11 incident. Recession in U.S. may lower the revenues. Unpredictable in fuel prices. Strong competition within U.S. and international market.
So next we're going to be discussing on the issues and examples that have made a major impact on customer service in the flight industry. The first issue that we have is a United passenger who was forcefully dragged and evicted from an overbooked flight by United Airlines. This issue has been largely popularized especially by social media and the news. So this issue happened in April of 2017 this year, and it has seen a large effect on the stock of United. It happened in Chicago O'Hare Airport, where the flight was traveling from Chicago to Louisville. So the flight was overbooked by one passenger initially, and they were able to solve this by denying one passenger boarding right before they boarded the flight. But then another United flight developed mechanical issues, and 4 crew members had to board the same flight. So they had to ask for 4 passengers who were willing to give away their seats. But this was not happening immediately, so they offered $800. 2 passengers willingly gave up their seats, and they were compensated $800. As we later came to see, no more passengers were willing to give up their seats. So they selected a doctor, Dr. Dow, and his wife, and they could not give up their seats. After it was realized that the next available flight was not until later the next day, and they could not take this. So they were forcefully evicted from the flight. The first time we saw in the video, they were dragged across the floor, and this was bad customer service. This was very bad for United, and this was the only way that they could take them out of the flight, which was not good. I'm sure they could have found a better means to get them out of the plane.
In 2009, the first of the viral videos of airline customer service hit the internet. The band Sons of Maxwell were traveling from their home to a performance in Nebraska. Once boarded on their second leg at Chicago O'Hare, they were alerted that the baggage handlers were throwing guitars. Once they arrived at their destination, the band's singer, David Carroll, found that his Taylor guitar had been damaged. Carroll had to pay $1,200 out of pocket as United refused to take responsibility for the damages. After 9 months of unsuccessfully dealing with United's customer service, Carroll decided to write a song and post a music video on YouTube called United Breaks Guitars. The original video has received nearly 17.5 million views, and the backlash caused United stock to drop 10%, costing the airline $180 million, all because they refused to pay $1,200 to fix a guitar they broke.
So a bride and a groom were going on their dream wedding to Costa Rica. So they boarded the flight, and they found a man taking a nap and they were stretching across their seats. So they decided to move 2 rows forward, and some crew members came and asked them why they had moved their seats. They explained to them, and they were asked to peacefully move back to their seats. So after they moved back to their seats, some security guards came and ejected them from the flight. So this was also very bad customer service, because even if there was no incident, they did not deserve to be ejected from their flight, and they were later booked on a later plane, but it caused them a big inconvenience because this was their wedding. No one wants this to happen on your wedding day. So it was a big negative publicity for United again. So the next example we have is of a Michigan woman who was traveling on the flight with her dog. She was able to get on the flight, and she got to her destination safely, and when she got to the destination, her dog was also alive, but unluckily the dog passed away. The dog died, and the woman accused United Airlines of transporting the dog with a crate which was too big for the dog. So she accused the airline of treating the pet like a piece of luggage, and this was negative publicity for the airline. Next, we have an example of an incident which took place at Southwest, where Southwest pulled an airplane right before it took off, and the pilot took it back to the terminal, and he called on a woman and asked her to disembark the plane, and she was asked to contact her husband immediately. So she called her husband, and she found out that their son had just gotten into a coma, and Southwest was able to provide new tickets to them, to the woman. They gave her food and a private waiting place. So this was an example of good customer service that Southwest provided, and they went way and beyond to please a customer, which is what customers like.
Customers' needs and perceptions on airline services vary with their cultures and socioeconomic statuses. Findings for airline services might considerably differ in different marketplaces. In 2016, the airline industry carried 823 million passengers. Each passenger has their own particular set of expectations of what an airline should provide. Each airline has an operational strategy of what they would provide to their customers. The J.D. Power Survey evaluates customer satisfaction of an airline service. The results are a direct correlation to whether the airline strategy meets customer expectations. Failure to meet expectations results in a lower score. Airlines have to focus their solutions in order to meet their customer expectations. One approach is to view the issue from a psychological standpoint. Using the Kano method, an airline can prioritize their offerings to ensure the largest amount of satisfaction for their effort. A must-be rated factor is what many would consider a requirement. They are not mentioned as they are assumed to be provided. While a customer may not mention them, a failure to provide a must-be requirement would greatly impact or result in a customer's dissatisfaction. One-dimensional factors are factors that are already provided but would be considered to be neutral. This may be common features that the airline does better than their competition. An example of a one-dimensional factor would be a mid-flight snack, such as pretzels or peanuts. Customers may become accustomed to these factors, and their positive effects may wear off over time. The third factor is the attractive factors. The attractive factor are features that are provided that go above a customer's expectations. In-flight Wi-Fi is an example of an attractive factor that customers may not have expected, but are delightfully surprised if it's available. If we apply the Kano method to the incidents we've detailed earlier, each incident is caused by a failure to meet a must-be requirement. Just as any paying customer, Dr. Dow would expect the seat on the flight that he purchased. He should also have an expectation for his safety and not to be physically attacked. The public backlash that United received was a result of people sympathizing over the failure to provide a must-be requirement. A passenger should reasonably assume that their luggage would arrive at its destination on time. They should also assume that their luggage is going to arrive without damage. This wasn't the case for David Carroll. Not only did United fail to provide safe passage for his belongings, but they also failed to pay recompense and pay for him to fix his guitar. This story constitutes two failures of must-be requirements that anyone could reasonably expect from an airline. Another failure to provide a must-be requirement happened when the engaged couple were also removed from their flight. While they did sit in seats that they hadn't purchased, they promptly and willingly returned to their seats when asked by a flight attendant. Any person would assume that they would still be allowed to use the ticket for the flight that they purchased, but United failed to provide that expected travel. Many people consider pets as part of the family. United made news a few months ago when a family dog they were transporting passed away due to what some considered to be less than satisfactory treatment. Reasonable passenger safety expectations extend to all passengers and pets flying. Failure to provide these constitutes a failure of a must-be requirement. An example of an attractive factor would be Southwest returning a plane to the terminal to remove Mrs. Yule. The change of flights, private waiting area, and personal follow-up are more than anyone would typically expect from an airline. Mrs. Yule stated herself, "The care that I was shown is second to none." As airlines work to determine strategies, they must keep in mind cultural differences. In a study performed between the University of Colorado at Denver and Yonsei University in Seoul, South Korea, researchers found that culture was a factor in the perceptions of service quality. American passengers were typically more satisfied with services provided by airlines, whereas Korean passengers were more accepting of passenger bumping procedures. Koreans also were more likely to choose an airline based on how others perceive the airline. With these types of differences in mind, airlines should be sure to create strategies for their markets of operation. The airlines we've addressed are all large businesses. They have a responsibility to their shareholders to make money. Operational efficiency is one method to determine whether a business could be better at generating a profit. Researcher Carl Sharaga performed a study which showed focusing on passenger services reduced the operational efficiency of an airline. Focusing strategies on ticketing, sales, promotion, all reduced profitability. The study showed that no-frills services increased operational efficiency. If we look back at our use of the Kano method, no-frills service is providing the must-be requirements. While this may lead to increased operational efficiency, any failures will result in negative perceptions. Incivility is not just a minor daily irritant. We found that 79% of Americans say lack of respect and courtesy is a serious problem. And where do we see some of the worst behavior in everyday life? Where do we see good people go bad? Too often, we see it or cause it ourselves when we travel. Travel is stressful. Stress can lead people to treat others in ways they normally wouldn't. Airline employees are often on the receiving end of such treatment. Employees who are underpaid, overworked, and highly stressed themselves are not properly trained to handle such treatment. Unfortunately, airline employees sometimes lash out at passengers. This must be addressed by the airline to minimize these occurrences.
United Airlines realized the public relation crisis they face after several publicized incidents regarding treatment of passengers. Oscar Munez, the chief executive officer, distributed a memo to at least the Mileage Plus members. In this memo, he was apologetic and acknowledged their error. United broke the trust they made with not only ensuring customers arriving on time and safely at their destination, but that customers will be treated with the highest level of service and deepest sense of dignity and respect. United came to understand that corporate policy took precedence of shared values, and procedure prevented employees from doing what they knew was right. Therefore, in order to address this problem, they focus their attention on the customer, specifically how to serve and respect them. They instituted several changes. Law enforcement will no longer be involved in removing customers from flights, and customers will not be required to give up their seat once boarded on the airline. They also increased incentive for voluntary rebooking up to $10,000 and have planned to introduce a new application that will enable employees to provide instant goodwill gestures. While these initiatives are promising, the following are others that will benefit the airline. Provide training to all employees on the importance of exceptional customer service. Replace corporate policies that do not put the customer first. Institute measures, address conflict and how to deal with crisis. Implement better communication mechanism for engaging customer and keeping them informed. Ensure crews are booked onto a flight at least 60 minutes prior to departure. Empower the employees to resolve customer issues on the spot. Everything with an organization can be operating effectively and efficiently behind the scene. Flawless delivery system, clear understanding of customers' demand. However, at the point of sale, there is a problem. The customer is not satisfied with the quality of service nor how they are being treated. Despite the thorough screening to ensure you hire the right personnel and all the training you provide in customer care, the customer feels he has been mistreated and has not been provided the level of service for which he paid. This was the case with United Airlines, and now their motivation is to ensure all passengers receive exceptional flight experience going forward. The following recommendations are provided in order to address this issue and implement the aforementioned solutions. Embrace social media as a customer service tool. Establish a customer solution team to provide agents with creative solutions such as using nearby airports, other airlines, or ground transportation to get customers to their final destination. Create an automatic system for soliciting volunteers to change travel plans. Offer indirect compensation to employees by giving them services and benefits. Provide at-risk pay where rewards depend on various factors like individual, team, or organizational performance. Reward desired behavior and don't reward undesired behavior. Ensure you focus the effective employees and not the wrong behavior.
While an airline's operations can be efficient and their concepts reflect a clear idea of customers' demands, it's the employee who interfaces with the customer and who delivers the service the airline promised. United Airlines Chief Executive Officer Oscar Munoz acknowledged they had broken the trust they promised to not only ensure customers arrived on time and safely at their destinations, but that customers would be treated with the highest level of service and deepest sense of dignity and respect. This was a costly error. If a passenger feels mistreated, they will become disappointed with the specific airline because the employee represents that airline. Since quality and value are defined by the passenger, The employee who provides the passenger experience must not only be well-trained, but highly motivated to meet the passenger's quality and value expectations. United, JetBlue, and Southwest Airlines are three of the biggest airlines in the United States. JetBlue and Southwest are two similar yet different airlines. They both operate on a low-cost, low-fare airline business strategy, but offer different accompaniments to attract customers. While Southwest offers no assigned seating to reduce cost, JetBlue offers assigned seating because they believe customers like this better. They accomplish this by not having as many employees at ticket counters and relying more on computer systems. Both companies have identified methods to satisfy the customer, while United should rebuild trust and restore a positive image. Despite the U.S. airline industry currently enjoying a 15-year high in operating margins, United's unfortunate experiences is a strong indicator of how a lack of genuine customer care can negatively impact profitability.
You should fix it. You're liable, just admit it. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars.